Dust extractors are expensive, and there are 6 very good reasons for that. About 5 years ago, I built this Cyclone Shop Vac Cart, and it was an amazing upgrade. Since building that, I wanted to do a second version, making it as good as an expensive dust extractor. That idea is what led me to the knowledge shared in this video, but I'm ashamed to admit that I bought the cheapest dust extractor with a real warranty instead. Despite the advantages, I noticed something unexpected in the dust extractor manual that has me feeling a bit cheated, and that maybe I should have just upgraded my shop vac setup. So I had to mock up some tests to check performance. Despite going for the dust extractor, I'll explain all the DIY and budget tips to make a setup work as close to a dust extractor as possible. So if you have a good shop vac and not quite ready to pull the trigger on a dust extractor, don't discount some upgrades like a Cyclone and HEPA filter to make a great budget unit for woodworking. The number one reason dust extractors are expensive is airflow performance, so CFM and water lift or air watts. They're typically rated for cubic feet per minute, CFM, and inches of water lift, or air watts, which should be tested per ASTM standards with the included hose. My current shop vac rating is pretty good at 120 CFM, 48 inches of water lift for a 12-gallon vac. Dust extractors typically have around 150 to 200 CFM of airflow. This Fein turbo dust extractor has 151 CFM and 98 PSI of static water lift, or so I thought. When I was cruising through the manual, I noticed the CFM is without a hose, and with the hose it drops to 75 CFM, half? What? So not all manufacturers are going to play by the ASTM standards for the airflow specs. Despite the lower spec, the vacuum flow feels sucky and powerful. I devised a quick test to prove to myself I didn't get cheated and that this vacuum does have higher flow performance. So I hooked up my sander with the different vacuums through a Cyclone and tested to see how much weight the sander could lift. While maybe not desirable for sanding, higher weight lifted would indicate better performance. And yes, the Fein is lifting significantly more than my Craftsman Shop Vac, 150 grams versus 365 grams, nearly 1.5 times the weight, which you can always bleed off by opening a vent if you don't want that for sanding. I also did a quick test showing effectiveness with a router, shop vac on the left, Fein on the right, and the Fein showed lower dust and debris, although I ran the test twice and the second time it was less convincing, but I would still say the Fein won. A quick shout out to Harbor Freight and Hercules, who just released a 12-gallon dust extractor for $300. While that is a good reduction in price, the 90-day warranty prevented me from purchasing. It did help drive down the price on this Fein, and I was able to pick up the Fein Turbo 1 HEPA Pro for only $330 after tax and coupons. There are more expensive options like Festool, DeWalt, 3M, Makita, and others, but I'll be focusing on these budget options. Shop vacs, and particularly the large ones with 2.5-inch hoses, can have good CFM like 180 from these large rigid models, but the water lift is typically quite a bit lower, around 45 to 55. VacMaster is another big brand for shop vacs, and they have better water lift, around 80 to 90 inches. Unfortunately, with that water lift, they only have around 100 or less CFM. VacMaster also makes vacuums for Menards and Mastercraft, as well as Hart at Walmart and Craftsman at Lowe's. The top VacMaster model, 16-gallon, 6.5 peak horsepower, and the larger hose has 64 inches of water lift and 145 CFM. The additional water lift should give you better suction, especially as you connect to tools with smaller hoses and flow restrictions. Also, if you plan to pair with the Cyclone type system to prevent filter and bag replacement, that will decrease airflow performance as well. Testing from shop hacks showed a reduction in CFM of around 45% with the Cyclone, and I suspect this is due to lower water lift. A smaller VacMaster model with higher water lift showed lower performance loss. Reason number 2 is filtration. Most shop vacs come with a standard or fine dust filter capturing a suggested 99% of particles. While there are dust extractors with fine dust filters, most are HEPA, which suggests 99.97% of particles 0.3 microns or larger. The filtration performance gives you confidence that you're going to capture almost everything harmful that is going in the hose. This also adds to the impressive airflow performance that they are doing it with great filtration efficiency. My Fein vac had a certificate suggesting not just 99.97, but 99.991% filtration at 0.3 microns when tested. So that's a significant improvement. It somewhat makes up for the CFM issue with the included hose. VacMaster makes an 8-gallon shop vac and HEPA certified options. The shop vac with a fine dust filter gets 95 CFM and 84 inches of water lift for 300 total air watts. Then with the HEPA filtration, the CFM drops to 88, water lift still 86, for a total air watts of 250 per the website. The HEPA certified option is also available as Mastercraft at Menards. For the VacMaster HEPA certified options, it uses a larger filter, filter cover, and exhaust filter. So I hate to tell you, but don't expect certified HEPA performance by just using a HEPA canister filter in a shop vac. If you did, manufacturers would sell those lower cost HEPA vac options. So is HEPA necessary? Well, I'm frankly not sure. Wood dust from a workshop is listed as 1 to 10 microns from my research. The newer fine dust filter options may be pretty good, but just not quite HEPA capable. Since I had a HEPA filter in my Cyclone Shop Vac setup, I didn't really want to downgrade. Not to fearmonger, but fine dust can have a significant impacts on your lung health. I also couldn't find any specific manufacturer specs for fine dust filters, sharing both the filtration percentage and micron size. So it's a bit of a risk using a fine dust filter, in my opinion. Reason number 3 is noise. Shop vacs are typically upper 70s to 85 decibels, and dust extractors are typically lower, Fein being 66 dBs and Hercules 73 dBs rated. Depending on your goals, this may not be a big deal. If you're pairing with tools, the tool noise may dominate and not matter. For me personally, I have young kids and noise is important for me. That couple hours where they're in bed, I'm hoping I can use the Fein without bothering them to clean up the shop or clean up cars in the evenings or nap time. Fingers crossed they actually nap. DeWalt makes a quiet stealth sonic version around 65 dBs, but frankly the airflow performance is pretty poor and they are expensive. Since the airflow performance numbers had me questioning the Fein, I downloaded the Noise Meter app. Probably not the best accuracy, but it did show my old vac around 85 dB and the Fein around 72. If I went with the shop vac upgrade, I was going to make a cart and insulate the vacuum area to try and manage noise. Reason number 4 are the controls. I had already purchased an auto vac switch for my Cyclone Shop Vac setup, but this comes standard on most dust extractors. That switch costs around $25 to $30 to automatically run the vac when the tool is turned on, and then run for a bit after the tool is shut down to clear the lines, 5 to 15 seconds. I'll leave a link in the description for these switches. Also, some dust extractors come with a variable speed to turn down the suction. I hear it can be important to reduce sanding marks when doing dustless sanding. Some hose kits like Rockler have an adjustable slot to bleed off suction prior to the tool. So does this Fein. This is a pretty simple budget workaround. I don't have personal experience sanding with and without this, but I hope to try it out in the future. Reason number 5 is hose length and quality. For the airflow performance discussed earlier, the VacMaster models do this with a 7-foot hose, while the dust extractors have a longer 13 to 16 foot. But clearly airflow specs may not be following the ASTM standard. The shop vac hoses on base models can be pretty cheap and stiff. This Fein is quite nice. While smaller diameter, it has plenty of flexibility and some higher quality attachments. Also, rigid vacs get a premium for their higher end vacs, and the main difference appears to be the better hose. Reason number 6 would be auto filter cleaning. Lots of dust extractors come with this, and I believe it's necessary for OSHA capability. The one I purchased doesn't. I also see some newer shop vacs having manual filter cleaning options, but that probably isn't as capable as the extractor ones. They use dual filters and pressure pulses or reverse flow to clean the dust cake from the filters and ensuring constant flow. Since my extractor doesn't, I'll be pairing with the Cyclone and probably would have done so regardless to prevent more costly filter replacements. This will impact flow performance, but sure to ensure consistent flow. Until I vacuumed drywall mud, my shop vac stayed quite clean with the Cyclone. I'm hoping manual cleaning every 6 months or less is all that will be necessary. My grand idea to make the best DIY shop vac based extractor was selecting the best shop vac, combining size, airflow performance, and HEPA filter availability. then building it into a rolling cabinet with a workbench top. Insulate it somewhat to bring down the dB, buy the HEPA canister filter, build in an auto vac switch, then use this Rockler hose to reduce suction if needed when sanding. Well, call a new vac $100, then $30 for a HEPA filter, $30 for a vac switch, $15 for a heavy-duty extension cord for the vac switch, and $50 for a Cyclone. That adds up to $225 before the cost of the cabinet. Maybe scrap wood, casters, glue, screws, time, sweat, tears, wood finish, better hose, etc. Now, if you have some pieces of this already, that can significantly reduce the cost and make it a great upgrade. As I said earlier in the video, dust collection can be a journey, especially if you don't have an open pocketbook. My old Cyclone setup will be gifted to my father, who has restored dozens of boats and uses a shop vac without a Cyclone and a plugged up filter that came with it 15 years ago. Don't worry, he bangs the dusty filter into the trash every 11 months or so. I genuinely hope this information was helpful. Still a little salty I didn't build the ultimate DIY budget extractor, but maybe one of you will. I am going to be making some sort of cart to better fit the Fein, Cyclone, and collection bin soon. There is an Amazon link for various products in the video: vac switch, Cyclone, vacs, Fein extractors. I also purchased what I think to be one of the best value miter saws out there right now. Check out this video if you're interested in seeing me set that up and getting it accurate. Thanks so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing.